Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag, to the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may please be seated.
Good morning, everyone. I am John Zeri, principal of Hamilton High School, and it is an honor and a privilege to welcome you to this ceremony to recognize our enlisting students. Your decision to enlist is one of bravery, selflessness, patriotism, and it's a decision that will have a lasting impact on your life and the lives of those around you. As you embark on this new journey, I want to assure you that you have the full support of the school community. We're proud of you, and we are grateful for your service. Your decision to serve our country is a reflection of your character and your willingness to put others before yourself. Thank you for your commitment. Now I would like to introduce Captain Scott Eberwine. Captain Eberwine is a native of Hanover Township. He graduated from Miami University, where he majored in accounting and finance, as well as completing the Navy Reserve Officer Training Corps program. He was commissioned as a Naval Supply Officer in 1990, serving 26 years on active duty, including sea tours on the ballistic missile submarine USS West Virginia and the guided missile cruiser USS Anzio. And he was deployed to Kuwait in 2003 as part of Operation Iraqi Freedom. He is a Supply Corps warfare qualified in submarine, surface, aviation, and expeditionary environments. Captain Eberwine is completing his third year as a senior naval science instructor for Hamilton High School's Navy Junior Reserve Officer Training Corps program. Ladies and gentlemen, Captain Scott Eberwine.
Thank you, Mr. Zeri. And gosh, thank you to all the guests that are here. What outstanding support here for our enlistees and those choosing to serve. I was looking down the list. I've had the chance to teach in the 3 years I've been on board. Most of these individuals, or no, nearly all of them. And I think it's awesome that you have somebody that's going to raise their hand for all the reasons that Mr. Zeri said. But then also from the perspective is that they're willing to do something different from everybody else here in the school. So there's going to be nearly 600 graduates or something like that this year, and we have 10 or so people that have raised their hand to go that said I want to serve. From my perspective, I am from Hanover Township, and I like to say it's okay to leave home, but it's also okay to come back home too. And as I reflect back now on a career that started out, and you got to understand too that I was, when I went through my first supply officer training school in my little small class, I was, the straw vote said I was most likely to get out of the Navy first. And here, 26 years later, I was the last one from that class of 30 students to still be in. But I look back on it and I think of all the opportunities that I had during that time frame and the opportunities I got to experience, places I've lived. It's neat. And whether you're serving 2 years, 4 years, or a career, you probably won't maybe understand it in the moment, but those opportunities you get will be completely different from those other 590 or so graduates that are going to walk the stage with you here in a couple weeks. I'd like to, one thing Mr. Zeri said was all these warfare pins that I wear, which I can only wear 2 of them, but he did mention submarine service. And one thing a lot of more senior folks that talk about that are leaving command, they'll often say their favorite command was, the one that they were just in. And I guess that's something you got to say to the people that they really make them feel good. There's no doubt that my favorite tour and it certainly wasn't my easiest, but my most rewarding tour was my submarine tour on the USS West Virginia. The responsibility, and most importantly, the camaraderie that I had with my fellow crewmates in that environment where disaster can happen, it can end really, really quick, was absolutely second to none. And that comes from a person that's played college football and been on multiple various teams. That was the best team I've ever been on. Our guest speaker actually comes from that environment. He spent his entire career in the submarine force. Captain Lampier is currently the professor of naval science at Miami University. He enlisted in 1990. He's out of Michigan, but enlisted in 1990, nuclear machinist mate program. While going through nuclear training, he was identified for the nuclear enlistment commissioning program to become an officer. So he went to the University of Wisconsin to the ROTC program there and majored with a Bachelor in Engineering Mechanics. He also went through the ROTC program there and got his commission in 1996. He spent many years, and when you're a submarine officer or a specific officer like that, you spend your whole career in that specialty. So he had multiple tours on submarines. As a division officer, right out of school, he went to USS Pittsburgh. His next one on his department tour, the USS Topeka, then the USS Norfolk, and then he reached the pinnacle of his career, and that's where he wears several pins, but underneath on his left breast pocket, you'll see a star there. That's a symbol that he had command of the USS Helena, SSN 725. That's the ultimate responsibility in the United States Navy. And having sat as the supply officer across from the commanding officer of a submarine, I always thought I had the second best job, but the price you got to pay to get in that job and the responsibilities you have are vastly different. And I have tremendous respect for Captain Lampier and all that have held his job. Now, prior to coming to Miami University, he actually had another very, very important job as well. He had command of the Trident Training Facility in Kings Bay, Georgia. That was the same base I was stationed at. This is a massive building that has a piece of the submarine, of the ballistic missile submarine, somewhere in that building, and a massive training staff was used to train that. And I will say this too, thank you to him as Hamilton High School's JROTC program, his team just in this last year, but every single program that we've hosted, including our drill meets, our athletic meets, he's had his staff and midshipmen have volunteered to come down and help support that. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce Captain Lampier.
Good morning, everyone. Turnout's great. Testament of Captain Eberwein and Gunny McAllister and their program here. I'm really happy to see the number of folks that have decided to join the military and enlist, and one going on to NROTC. That is also a testament of the school support. This is great, and seeing the programs that the JROTC gets to do and their drill meets, that's all possible because of the support of the school. So thank you for inviting me. It's an honor to participate in celebrating the young men and women that are committing to take the responsibility of our nation's security onto their shoulders. And that is a big responsibility. The strength of our all-volunteer force, I think that is the dedication and expertise of our enlisted servicemen and women, right? Many militaries, you don't see that. They're conscripts, but our enlisted corps has experience and that dedication, and they really raise our level of performance and underpin our ability to do what we need to do. All right, so as a service member, you do not need to worry about that. What you do has meaning. You make a significant contribution to our country's defense, whether that's in peacetime or wartime. We are always deployed. Navy or Marine Corps is a bit more, but Army, Air Force, we have bases across the world that you will go to and provide a stabilizing presence. All right, that presence deters our adversaries and assures our allies, right, that we are always committed to upholding democracy and ensuring the freedom of the world's global commons, the seas, cyber, space, and that America is there and we are committed. All right, so, while you're executing these deployments or missions, you also get to experience things that most of your schoolmates will not get to experience, right? You get to see the world, you get to work with other country militaries, and you'll get to see stuff that they're not going to see, right? I'll give you some Navy examples. A stormy night off an unfriendly coast, watching the sun go down over the mountains of Africa as you steam up the Gulf of Suez, or maybe a swim call in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, right? Not many people get to do that stuff. We do. So enjoy that. All right, so for our enlistees, a couple words of advice. So each service has what we call core values. Navy and Marine Corps, honor, courage, and commitment. The Army has a few more: loyalty, duty, integrity, courage, selfless service, and honor. If you read those, they're the same. The Army just likes a bigger list. All right, so there's a lot packed in there. We don't expect everyone coming in to have the same standards that you'll have in a few years, but we expect you to learn those quickly. So take time to read those, study them, and think about them so you can take those on board, once you put on the uniform. All right, and the other piece of advice is take advantage of every opportunity you have, whether it's professional or personal, right? Every hour you spend at your schools as you first come in the military will pay back several hours once you get to your ship or your command. All right, every hour you take preparing for that next event, the evolution, the operation, the training will pay dividends in the end. As Captain Eberwein said, I started out as enlisted mainly because of the choices I made in high school, but because I performed well in the military, right, I got an opportunity to go to college and become an officer. All right, so the only individual that's going to hold you back in the military is you. So take advantage of all those opportunities. Same with the personal side, right? You're in a foreign port, get out there, go see what's around. Please don't sit on the pier looking at your computer or your screen because you now have Wi-Fi. All right, take advantage of all of the opportunities. All right, so I'd like to close by thanking all of you for again committing to take down that responsibility of our nation's defense, and best of luck in your careers. Thank you.
All right, now we're going to call up representatives from each of the armed forces to come and recognize their services enlistees. First up is Staff Sergeant Graham from the United States Army. And as he comes up too, I do want to recognize him and the rest of the armed forces representatives that are here. They also have helped in all those, help our program out in tremendous ways, just like Miami University does. So when you see an event ran by the NJOTC, you will see judges or support from all of our recruiters as well as Miami out there. So thank you. So Staff Sergeant Graham.
Good morning. First, I would like to give a brief history of myself. I've had quite an interesting career. I actually started out in the Navy in 2009. I served 7 years. I was on 3 ships, decommissioned one of the most prestigious ships, which is a great honor of mine. I decommissioned the USS Enterprise back in I think it was 2013, we decommissioned her. But I decided that wasn't for me. I tried my hand at the Air Force. I worked with them for a couple of years, and then I finally found my home in the Army. So I've definitely had a colorful military career, and we all have our own reasons for serving. And I joined for the benefits, the college. I said I wanted to go to school and then go work in the FBI. Turns out that was home for me. I loved the military, so I've decided to make it a career. And I challenge you all to find what you truly like in the military, okay? And do what you set out to do. If you joined for college, go to college, okay? You have so many benefits available to you, and I challenge you to use everything, okay? I would like to take a chance to recognize all of the future soldiers that we have. We'll start with Quinn Bullard, if you would like to stand up. We have Lady Cortez Alvarez. I see her over here. Ava Fields. William Kennedy. And Matson Yusunuku. Thank you all, and I am very happy to have worked with these fine individuals and look forward to seeing what they do with their military careers. Next, I would like to introduce Staff Sergeant Mackey from the United States Marine Corps.
Good morning. So I'm Staff Sergeant Mackey. I've been the local recruiter here for 2.5 years. So most of the enlistees here, I've either talked to, help at any events, lunchroom visits, maybe even gave you a phone call that maybe you hung up on me, something like that. But I will say this school year, I feel like, I say it every year when I come up here, but the people that enlist and take the path, not, taken by everybody else. Like it was mentioned, there's almost 700 of you, and there's only 11 of you going to the military. So that speaks volumes. I will say the programs here, the teachers, staff, you guys do an amazing job, especially Gunny McAllister, Captain Everwine. You kind of make the recruiting job easy. I get them mentally and physically prepared for boot camp. They already come in the office knowing what they want. They already have that discipline, the hard work, and kind of the foundation that's going to get them through the worst part of, serving, which is boot camp, especially for the Marine Corps. It doesn't matter how tough you are, doesn't matter how strong you are. There's something that's going to, kick you in the butt a little bit. So, but without further ado, I would like to introduce Benjamin Graham. Next, I would like to introduce Anthony Villa. And last but not least, Wesley Fox. So all three of these gentlemen, they've been a part of my program for, almost a year, some of them. Besides Mr. Fox, he decided that, he wanted to do this last Friday. So he's fairly new to the police system. But For Fox, he's going to be going to boot camp around August timeframe. He is very interested in doing the officer route, but has chosen to see what the enlisted side has to offer first. So after he does 3 to 4 years, he is going to try to go through the Marine Corps Enlisted Commissioning Education Program to become an officer. So as of right now, that is what he's going to be doing. Benjamin Graham, he's been a Poolee the longest. He came to me in June. He's been working out with us almost every Thursday. I will say for the first 3 months, I didn't know he existed because he would come into the office and he'd be quiet. I would have to actually search for him to make sure he was actually there. But he has came a long ways. A lot of heart and dedication in that young man. So Anthony Vela has been a Poolee since November timeframe. He has decided that he wanted to be combat engineer. So with that, 2 sides of the house, you build things or you destroy things. So that is what he's wanting to do, and he'll be going to boot camp July 24th. So I will say again, these 3 gentlemen, they always show up every day, give 100%, and that's all I can ask for. There's no doubt in my mind when it is their time to take the shot at the title that they're going to accomplish it, and they're going to do great things afterwards in the Marine Corps. So the Marine Corps has a lot of sayings. One of them that I hold near and dear is the few and the proud. So I introduce you, Hamilton High School, your few and the proud.
Petty Officer Saul Hook could not make it here today. He will be here next week to be part of the Navy JROTC specific program awards. And so he'll recognize you one-on-one and part of that ceremony for sure. But I want to recognize the Navy, those who have chosen to join the United States Navy. So if you could please stand. Tristan Cord. And Andrew Miller. Both of these individuals, I've worked with them since I've been here. Mr. Cord, he was our executive officer back in the fall. He's joining the nuclear power program. He hasn't committed yet to surface or subsurface, but he'll be going through the nuclear power training like our guest speaker has gone through. So he'll be starting and going through that. Mr. Miller, he reported to the first day of school this year and told me he had signed on with the Navy and he was going to be a machinist mate in submarines. And I'm like, holy cow, that's something else. So that September, just a couple weeks later, we had an opportunity to go to Norfolk for a decommissioning ceremony. I was able to arrange with Submarine Forces Atlantic a tour of the USS Washington because I knew Mr. Miller was going to be on that trip with us and got him a tour of it. So, and then follow on when both of these gentlemen, they went on board another submarine, USS Montana, during our November trip, which was a lot larger class trip that went to Norfolk, and that was our newest submarine in the Navy. So he knows very much what he's going to get himself into, and he's pretty excited about it. Both of them are. And I can't think, so hey, anchors away, and let's get it, all right? Congratulations. I also like to recognize our NROTC scholarship winner, award winner, and we'll be leaving here actually in June to part of the, I guess, the second new student indoctrination program up at Great Lakes. It's a 3-week program. So Jacob Spansberg, if you could please stand. The dollar amounts vary, but he's going to be attending the Ohio State University, majoring in engineering. And that scholarship at just tuition and books and and the other things are given, everything but room and board essentially, but there is a stipend. You're looking at over $100,000 scholarship that he has earned. I've worked with Jacob for the last 2.5 years, a tremendous leader. I think he will be a wonderful addition to anybody's wardroom when he can get through the program. He has led our orienteering team here from the beginning, and we've attended nationals, both years eligible. He is our current senior cadet at Hamilton High School and led the unit to our Navy Drill Nationals just a couple of weeks ago. But I will say this here about him is that, and this is a plug for other programs, he's heavily involved, just like most of these individuals that you're recognizing today have been heavily involved, not just in the military or the various other programs they're in, but they're involved in other extracurricular activities too. So tonight, tomorrow, and on Saturday at 7 p.m., you please buy your tickets to the Newsies production, all right? Your star performer is right here standing before you, so. But we are proud of him and all the enlistees, so a round of applause for all of them. Thank you. And without further ado, I'd like to introduce my fellow instructor here at Hamilton High School, Naval Science Instructor, Gunnery Sergeant Todd McAllister.
Is it the button? Am I on? Okay. All right, good morning. Mr. Holbrook, you and your staff, appreciate you being here. Counselors, man, you guys put it on an awesome display for these families and these kids. Appreciate your support, appreciate your leadership. And man, this is a big crowd. I was telling somebody earlier that I probably should have worn my shot collar in case I slipped a couple bad words in there. But I was looking around the crowd and I was like, well, I better not, because if I do, the next 2 hatches I go through is probably straight and left. But I want to talk to the guys and the gals that are going into the military services. What an incredible decision that you're making. I don't believe you fully understand the scope of responsibility that you're fixing to take on. I've seen lots of generations of students come through here and go into the military. This is my 19th, going on 19th year here, wearing a uniform for almost 40 years. In recent years, I talked to students as a father, like a father figure. Now I'm a grandparent of 8 kids. My oldest daughter is a master sergeant in the Air Force with 4 kids, almost at 19-year mark. So I'm at a different level right now and dealing with these kids, because I still think that they need to be talked to and dealt with like a parent, like an authoritarian. And sometimes I have problems doing that. I really do. But I am deeply vested in what I believe in, and that is discipline. And discipline isn't always raising a hand, putting them out in the hallway with the paddle like it was in the 70s. It's called holding them accountable even during the time when there's little tears coming down their eyeballs. They need it. They're going to go through a culture shock that they've not experienced yet here real soon. There will be no phones. There will be no texting Johnny, Susie, Mommy, Daddy for some support, because the only support you're going to get is yelled at again. And you're going to go on the quarterdeck and you're going to exercise all these little sad feelings out of your bodies. You are about to embark in something that 70% of the entire United States don't even qualify to do. for various reasons. It takes a huge amount of courage to do what you're doing. It really does. I don't think you really understand, the magnitude of the responsibility that you're going to have upon your shoulders, even as at a lower level. The decision making, the listening, doing what you're told. You know all those times when your parents told you to do something, you did something else? Do it in the military, people die. People go to jail. You get in trouble. Your career is over. Then you got to come back home and explain that to your parents and the people that loved you and supported you. Show some discipline. Show some restraint when you go to boot camp. When they tell you to do something, there's a reason for it. When they say, get to that hatch in about, a click of a second, you better be already there. There's a reason for that. Okay? They're not waiting for you to answer your next text message. Instant obedience to orders. There's a reason for that. It's not a joke. I caution you. You go to boot camp and you do some of the things that you've done here at high school, the consequences are going to be different. They're going to show you the door because you didn't listen, because you think you know it all. So please do yourself a favor, and when that recruiter picks you up and they say it's time to go, take a deep breath. Say goodbye to mom and dad. Say goodbye to your girlfriend or your boyfriend and go serve your country well. And if you do that right, and if you do those things, the people that support you will always be there. They will. They will be here when you get back. Please write your parents. Please write your grandparents or somebody, whoever's supporting you. Serving your country is an incredible responsibility. It really is. Please take it serious. And I wish every one of you the best of luck, and all the parents. Thank you for putting these kids in the right place. To me, there was no better job that I've had in this world is to serve my country. I wish all of you the best. Thank you.
Well, hey, on behalf of the Hamilton City School District, thank you for coming to today's military recognition ceremony. Congratulations to each of the enlistees and those who have committed to serve. As you leave, though, please, we have lots of refreshments up here. Please take advantage of that. Again, congratulations and have a great day.